So in previous class we saw about the uh, directive principle. So let us see about the other principle. Social economic principle is thus formulated to the social subsistence, which is socially, economic, and political justice, and the ownership of material resources, which can be controlled in such a manner that a common good. Next is your liberal principle is something that the state to formulate and implement a civil code, and also the state shall provide an early childhood care and education for all the children, and it also strive to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living, and it organize the agricultures. Next is your Gandhian principle is that it organizes panchayats in village, also such and gives them such powers, and it shall strive to develop a cottage industries, and also consumption of it should ban the consumption of wine and intoxicating drinks and all such commodities, and also it ban the slaughtering of cows and other cattle. Next is your international principle that it promotes international peace and security, and maintains just and honorable relations with other states in the world. And next is your Constitution of India and government. The Indian government is divided into three districts, that is legislative, executive, and judiciary, have to function their own spheres democrated under the Constitution. That is in legislative, the Parliament of India, that is the Parliament of India plus two houses of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Next is your judiciary, something is the Supreme Court of India, consists of Chief Justice and 30 Associate Justice. And next one is your executive, that is the President of India, Vice President, and Cabinet, and executive departments and agencies. So the basic principle of the Constitution is popular sovereignty, socialism, secularism, fundamental rights, and directive principle of state policy, and judicial independence, and cabinet government. Next is, let us see the procedures of amendment of Constitution of India. The basic structure of Constitution is unchangeable. Only amendment of the Constitution is allowed which do not affect the basic structure, that is by simple majority of the Parliament. Amendment is category can be made by simple majority of the members of present and voting before sending them to a president, and by special majority of a Parliament. It is made by two categories, that is two or third majority of the total number of membership present and voting. And next is your special majority of the Parliament ratification is at least half the state legislative by special majority. So that is 2/3, that is about from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha to pass it. So however, the Constitution of India is one of the most frequently amended constitution in the world. Many matters that would be dealt with ordinary state in smooth democracy must be by constitution amendment in India due to the document extraordinary details. So next is checks and balance. So in Indian Supreme Court and the election commissions are recognized as a bedrock of Indian constitution. These two bodies stand up to and empowers enormous powers that constitution invests in central government in general, and umbrella powers of Indian Prime Minister. So the checksum and balance that are provided by the constitution also smooth out the strained relationship between the central and the state by limiting the central government. Next, the Indian Constitution follows the British parliamentary system. It is a constitution, not a Parliament of India. As in United States, the Indian courts interpret the Constitution and laws passed by the Parliament. The Parliament has an authority to amend the Constitution, and whereas the Indian Constitution has made sure that the Parliament does not change its fundamental structures. So let us see about the main characteristic of the Constitution. So these are the main characteristics of the Constitution, that is longest written Constitution, is rigid and flexible, and democratic republic, and parliamentary system of government, and it is a federation and has a fundamental rights and directive principle of state policies, and it has certain fundamental duties, and it is a secular state and an independent judiciary and single citizenship. So in detail we saw about what is constitution, why we need a constitution, and the history of the constitution. and how it is framed and the preamble of the constitution, and what is the constitution of India and main characteristics of constitution. So these are the main highlights of the entire unit. And so this figure shows the Parliament Museum. So it's a high-tech storytelling museum of democratic heritage, and it is dedicated to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sir, the President of India, in August 14, 2006. So it is in Parliament Library Building at New Delhi. And so India has a parliamentary democracy. It has a Council of Ministers, and Prime Minister enjoys real powers and responsibility of Parliament. And the responsibility lies on not only the judiciary or policy field, but also the citizen of the country to work with harmonious manners for development of the country. If you have any doubts and clarification, feel free to communicate me. Thank you.